Cash is king. Heard that before. Now most times we prefer cash to some other asset. We're comfortable with cash. Cash makes us feel good. And cash allows us to get our equity, pay off our loans, and buy something else. Now remember, you can trade or exchange property that has debt on it. It's not that hard to do. This is called removing the debt. However, cash is not always available. And if there is a tax impact, then cash can be a problem and you probably wouldn't want to take it. Have you ever heard the term cash poor and property rich? Now, let's see how that works with properties that I have for sale or trade. And I'll be right back. Now, that cash poor situation we spoke about happens more often than we like to think about. Now, when we are buying or selling, the only thing we want to do is preserve our cash and get rid of unneeded or unwanted property. Now, here is a saying that I picked up from a fellow NCE member, Cliff Strand. Cliff says, cash is just a commodity like all other assets. Now, a lot of people have other assets, vacant land and buildings and houses. And people have notes that they have taken back on other pieces of property. They have boats and cars and planes, and all these people have all kind of assets or commodities that we don't think about. And all this stuff has equity. It can be used to buy and sell real estate. And it supplements our cash. Now, when we think of those assets as commodities, it changes our perspective on what we think about buying and selling. Then we realize that these assets can be added to a transaction. It just makes sense to try to use these assets to make a deal. Now, it's equity, and all these properties have equity, and it's just a method to supplement our cash. For example, here's a very creative idea, and it's thinking outside the box. Let's assume you have inherited a small, older home, and you would trade this house for a 10-year prepaid lease on an office space that you want to rent. Now, this makes you think, doesn't it? Now, I bet you have assets that you have not thought of adding to a deal till now. Now, in equity marketing, you can be a buyer, or a seller, or a tenant, or a landlord, or a note holder. It really doesn't make any difference what position you're in. What you want to do is you want to use an asset that you own as part payment of this piece of property. Now, in equity marketing, that's called a taker. You will be a taker for that property if it suits your needs. Even with cash, you have to be a taker. Someone has to want that cash that you put out there at the price and terms that you're offering to sell it or use it. So, to be a taker, you need to want what other people have, and of course they need to want what you have. Someone needs to want the cash you have at the terms you offer. You must want what they have, so both really, buyer and seller, are takers. Now, depending on your position, would you accept an antique car or a motor home and cash as part equity in your property? And also, will you add cash or notes for the balance? Now, cash or other equities are sometimes called a sweetener because it just makes the deal better. Now, these are big questions you should be asking your client, because really counseling is king. And without questioning and counseling and learning about the client, it's very, very hard to make a deal. In fact, it's hard to make a deal for cash if you don't know something about your client. Now, here's this week's featured property. It's a double-wide mobile on a purged foundation. It means that's purged through the county. And it also has a double-car garage. This is about a 1,300 square foot unit, and the owner is asking $139,000. It's zoned B2, which is commercial, but you can use it as a residence. In fact, it's always been a residence. Now, this property rents for about $695 a month, And we would like to take this equity, $139,000, and trade it into something else, and we'll bring cash to the table through a new loan. Our other properties are notes to balance the equities. So if you have a deal like storage units or multifamily units, and you would accept this rent house in Montrose, Colorado, and allow us to move up and use this property as equity, we might be able to structure a deal. Now, my contact information is on the screen, and if you would like to contact me, I respond to all inquiries, so feel free. And this is Chuck Trice with Investment Tuesday, and thanks for watching.